Hello and welcome to my channel, or welcome back. Today I wanted to talk about a few topics including confusion, delusion, and the goth clown persona. So I'll start with the last one. I feel like it's kind of self-explanatory to some people, but other people might not get it, so I wanted to talk about it a little bit. And so my goth clown persona, her name is Memento Mori, and I know that since she talks, like it's not really a mime, but it's because I came up with a pun because of like Memento Mori, like the reminder that you're gonna die. And like, okay, it's hard to define goth. Like, there's so many debates about it, right? So I'm with my personal definition of goth. Um, well, I mean, you can go with the historical definition of like, oh, it was born out of punk or whatever, like, but like for what goth means to me is like this reminder that you're gonna die and like that you should make something out of your life because you're so aware that you're gonna die that it's not all meaningless really. Is that there is like you do have that short lifespan and you're knocking at the cemetery gates, so you better make some good art. That's my interpretation. And not all of it, not all goth music is like, it's not like directly on that theme of like death per se, but it is kind of in a roundabout way. Like, I've really been enjoying the song 92 Degrees by Susie and the Banshees. And so the whole like concept of the song, like it starts out with like a sample from a movie, and it's talking about like how the most murders are committed at 92 degrees because it's like our animal nature like pushes us when we're in that temperature range to like commit murder. And like I don't know if that statistic is true, like it's for the art. Okay, so let's pretend it's true. Is that we're put in circumstances sometimes where our animal nature rules, and I think we like to think that we're so logical, like we humans exist in the head, but no, we do in fact have a body, and this body will in fact get old and die. So that's kind of what goth means to me. And the Fool, I think I still need to study this a little bit. My interpretation of the Fool, it's sort of like, it really ties into this sort of the same thing of like about living your life, and like sometimes it's not so serious. Like you can, like it's all kind of a game, the game of life, I guess. Um, and like we have that fool inside us, all of us do, that knows not to take things too seriously because life is a dance. You know, I don't know. Yeah, like I feel like I just need to meditate a little bit more on the idea of the fool to be able to put it into words like that, but that's kind of my interpretation. So I feel like those two ideas go really well together. And then of course, like goths and clowns both have the white face paint. It's just really obvious to me, like to put them together. So yeah, I kind of enjoy it. Okay, let's start talking about the other things I wanted to talk about. Confusion and delusion. Okay, maybe I'll start with delusion. In that it's important to be delusional. Like, we're all delusional. We all have our delusions, but you can spin it positive or negative. So some people with a negative delusion, like their delusion is that once they get a job and a mortgage and a house, well, they'll be happy. And that is a delusion that is very common nowadays. And it's interesting to see how this delusion grates up against reality. Like, I have a family member who works for the bank. You know, he has a mortgage, and blah, 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 and he's so depressed. And like, you can just tell that this man wants to be a Buddhist monk. Like, he goes on these retreats and stuff like that, and that's like when he actually has peace in his life. But then when he's back home working for the bank, he's like has to be on you know, like the Lexapro and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, I just wish I could be happy. I just wish I could cure my depression. Like, like, like you're delusional, because if your lifestyle is set up in such a way that it's just not compatible with your nature, and I mean, most of our society is not really compatible with our nature. Like, if you think about our psyches that have been evolving for, you know, millennium, and then you think about our current state of society, and just, my goodness, like, just to where things have gotten, it's just so incompatible with our nature. Like, you can't expect to find happiness when you're playing the game of just believing that delusion of that you need to fit into society in that way. I mean, oh, society. But like, you know, be a little punk about it. Like, you know, you can't, like, you actually think you're gonna be happy with a mortgage and like that's what's gonna make you happy? Like, no, that's a delusion. So a positive delusion is the delusion that you can do whatever you want. Like, you can just play around and you can come up with your own ideas, and that will make you happy. That's a good delusion. And you know, people will call you delusional for that sort of thing. They'll say your business is gonna fail, your art's not that good, you're gonna end up on the streets broke because you're delusional. But you gotta take the chance at least. And like the thing is, we could all end up on the streets. Like you can get in a car crash that wasn't even your fault and get hooked on painkillers, and like like you could end up on the street that way. You could be like a stockbroker or whatever, and there's like a crash in the market and you lose everything. Like you lose your home. So like the whole risk reward thing, like kind of forget about it. Like just live in your own delusional fantasy because things will work out. Like that's my delusion. Things will work out. Things will be fine. I mean, they've always been fine. Even when things seem to be going horribly wrong, like once you're out of it, then it's like, wait, that was fine. So maybe it's not even that delusional to believe that things will work out. Maybe it's actually you're basing yourself in reality a little bit more than the people who think, oh God, it's so catastrophic. I owe so much money to the bank. Like I had a kind of transcendent experience the other day when I was walking on the street and I was like, I was morose. I was like, it's so sad. I was like, oh, I owe the bank all this money. Like I'm so poor. I'm so broke. And then it was almost as if I time traveled. Like everything around me changed, and it wasn't cars going by, but it was horses on cobblestone, and I was in some sort of like a little Regency era bonnet instead of my puffer coat. And I was thinking like, oh, if I was some peasant back in the day, like complaining, oh, I'm so broke. Like it doesn't matter. Like who cares? Like make the art. Like that's all there is to it. So I really snapped out of that pretty fast. That was a fun experience. And the topic of confusion, like being confused. It's good to be confused, okay? Because the world is really confusing. Like, what is going on? What are we supposed to do? That's the question. What are we supposed to do? It's so confusing. But that is the question that you just have to keep asking again and again, every moment. What should I be doing? And you can get to a point where when you ask that question enough, then you hear the answer. And it's not necessarily like some understanding, realization, oh, this is what I should be doing. This is my life path. Like I planned out each step. I finally understand it all now. Like, no, it's never gonna be like that. You have to learn to exist in that state of confusion and take things as they come. And once you start to accept that and get comfortable with asking the question, you'll have those flashes of inspiration that tell you what to do. Or, I mean, not tell you what to do, but like what feels right to you. And I was thinking about, I read about Sylvia Plath's analogy of a fig tree, of like she saw all these life branches branching out in front of her, and she could do this, but by taking this path on a branch, like you're cutting off all these other branches. So she sat at the base of the fig tree and just watched the figs fall down, as all the life branches fell away, no longer possible. When if you had just, if you choose the branch, like you're gonna get the fig, you know what I mean? So it's one of those things where it's like learning to take action is not so much this like logical, planned out, meticulously considering every path, because that's when you get frozen. Learning to take action is about being inspired and being okay to go in whatever direction that, in the moment, really in the moment. And I mean, this is what so many belief systems talk about, like definitely Buddhism for sure, is like, full awareness of the current moment, and that is the transcendent sort of enlightened experience. I mean, I'm stretching these words, okay, like it's not quite exactly, but when you're not so much in your head thinking about the past and the future, which aren't even real. I mean, the future exists entirely in our heads, and the past exists only through artifacts that we prove, oh, this was the past because yesterday I did this and I set up my home in a certain way, and now I realize that it's the day after because I did this yesterday. But what is yesterday? Like, it's all gone, and like just all the years of history falling away. And I saw this interesting like, okay, this is embarrassing, man. I'm on a 4chan paranormal board. Let's not even talk about that, okay? Image boards are like my cruel addiction or whatever, like it's so messed up. But I saw this guy talking about what is heaven, what is hell, because people say hell is on earth. So what this guy's perception was, I don't know, this could be like ripped from a book, I don't know, man, but he's like, hell is like you can't see anything, it's all dark, and there's demons, male demons that are just abusing you, and the smell is so bad that you want to die. And heaven is filled with crystals and libraries and and an interesting thing that I thought was, you have complete knowledge of every time in history, that you can go back and learn about all these cultures, because that's like that's the thing that sucks about being in the present, right? Is you're so interested in, what would it be like if all these Mayan codices didn't burn by the colonizers, and like you could know everything about history, you could time travel back. I mean, that really would be heavenly to to like just be able to see just godly knowledge of everything. What do you call that? Omniscience, you know? That would be heavenly, in fact. But I like that idea of heaven, of like, oh, it's so glittery and, lotus flowers and all that. So, but I mean, going to heaven or going to hell, it's, like, how do you ensure that for yourself? I don't know, like, and like sin, it's so relative. I mean, I'm really trying not to sin. Like, I'm trying to be really good. I'm trying to be really good because I want to see those crystal libraries and all that. I do not want to be in the dark forever. That's an interesting way, but I mean, the darkness only exists with the light, blah blah blah, whatever. Oh. And I am starting to believe that New Age is demonic, maybe a little bit, because so where it misleads you is that it misleads you from going into the depth of any real belief system, and you're just getting platitudes. And I saw an interesting thing about New Age is that there's kind of this agreement of like, you believe in your thing, I'll believe in mine, because we're all, delulu woo woo, like sure numerology, or sure Reiki or whatever, like, but when you sort of dive into a belief system, there's a little bit more of that conviction of like, this is right. But I mean, at the same time, like, we all have access to the same information. The belief system is just a way of getting that depth, really. It's not that anyone is right or wrong. It's just that by gleaming little bits of everything is right, you're just not really going to get that depth of knowledge. And like, I saw an interesting thing say, this Neville Goddard law of attraction stuff is demonic, because when you put your intention out into the world and you say, let it manifest. Then, so someone's theory was that a demon who has the same intention as you will possess you to take these inspired actions. And that's how you'll achieve your goal, because you're opening yourself up to demonic possession through the law of attraction. Man, I'm not saying I agree with this stuff. It's just interesting to think about. And it does make a little bit of sense, like, to try and just do this hands off of like, okay, I'll just plant these subconscious ideas, and then everything will work out for me. But you're not really putting in that effort to, like, be in that state of taking inspired action throughout the day. I think in a way, yeah, it's probably a little bit less effective than people who are really putting in the effort into meditation practice, creative practice, etc., whatever. So I guess those are my thoughts for today. I could just go on and on and on and on and on, but I'm gonna cut it off here, because I got some other stuff to do. I don't, you have other stuff to do. So thanks for watching. Oh man, there was one more thing I wanted to talk about. There's one more thing. Okay, I'm gonna tag this in at the end. Sorry, but thank you for watching. You can leave now. This is just. I want to talk about social media addiction. Man, social media addiction is so bad. And you know what I don't understand? These people who are addicted to social media, but they just have like this private account and they're not posting anything. They're just watching other people's stuff, watching people's stories. I'm like, how can you get addicted to that? Like, that's so boring. Because the reason I'm addicted to social media is I post and then I get likes and then I get comments of people being like, never stop posting, I love your content. It's like people I hardly know. Like, you meet one time and you exchange your Instagram, and then you're in touch forever. They're watching your stories every day for the next 5 years, and you haven't seen them. But like, that's so addictive, man. Like, capturing people's attention is so addictive. And it's like weird too, because like, maybe there's like 10, 20 people's story that I watch. I don't know. It could be more, could be less. Whatever, the algorithm pops up, but there's only certain people that'll click on because I'm kind of interested in seeing where they're at. Man, but there are, like hundreds or whatever. I don't really count, but there are people who watch my story every day. I'm like, who are you? Why do you care about me, man? That's so weird. Like, I mean, it's cool. It's cool, I guess. Like, it's kind of like, oh, the validation is not good. Like, I know it's not healthy, but it's like I understand why that's addictive. I don't understand why people find it addictive to watch other people's content that much. I mean, I'm a little bad with it, but I'm getting better, okay? And you know my New Year's resolution, no more image boards. Yeah, that stuff rots your brain. So thank you for watching actually this time. Yeah, please go out and make your own content. Stop watching other people's content, for the love of God. Okay, bye.